As the procession enters, I would like you to please stand and remain standing until all members of the academic procession are seated. I will signal to you when to sit. Again, when the conferring ceremony is over, I would ask you to stand once again for the academic procession to leave. The following is especially important for the graduates. Shortly after the commencement of the conferring ceremony, the President will deliver a short introduction, empowering him to make the awards. When he has finished that introduction, I will require each row of graduates, as directed by the steward, to proceed to the platform. Can I ask graduates to vacate their seats as quietly as possible? Please stay in the order at which you are seated, as the parchments are in this order. When you approach the platform, please remain at the bottom of the steps until your head of department or head of school announces your name. Then proceed up the steps onto the platform to the President to receive your parchment. In the unlikely event that you were given the wrong parchment, which never happens, please don't panic. You've still graduated. Your course coordinator will sort this out over a cup of tea later on. You will return to your seats down on the left-hand side aisle, and our stewardess, Miss Teresa Bryan, will show you the way back to your seat. When you return to your seat, please move along the row as far as you can, and this will make it easier and less noisy, and it'll speed things along. With regard to photographs, as you can see, we have a photographer here from Barry's Photography located on my left-hand side. When you arrive to the President to receive your parchment, please pause for a moment. When the President is handing your parchment, and please look towards the photographer and smile if you can. Then walk to the left of the platform and down the steps. This is quite an important message to all our guests here today. Please do not applaud each individual graduate as they will receive their parchment. Instead, once each group have completed the conferring and returned to their seats, the head of the department will ask the entire class to rise and receive their ovation. Again, this is to allow you to applaud as a class. As on such occasions, there will be a few speeches. Mine will be the shortest. Once the speeches are completed, the ceremony will end and the academic procession will prepare to leave the auditorium. At this point, I will ask you to stand once again and remain standing until all members of the academic procession have left the auditorium. Please then remain in your seats for a short while. The graduates will then leave in their groups and go to the reception area for a group photograph. Please strictly observe the instructions of the stewards and do not leave your group, as the photographer session might take a little while. Individual photographs may be taken afterwards. Our guests are more than welcome to join us for light refreshments in the cafeteria, and our graduates can join them afterwards for group photographs. I would like to ask everyone now to check your mobile phones and either switch them off or put them on silent. Thank you for your attention. Just one final point before we start the procession. Traditionally on board ship, the officers keep a 4-hour watch, the 8 to 12, 12 to 4, and 4 to 8. In the old days, the time was told by turning an hourglass every 30 minutes. And on each turn of the hourglass, the ship's bell was rung. At the end of the watch, after 4 grueling hours at the helm or the engine room, 8 bells were rung. Well, as we're now approaching 11 o'clock, in fact we're just after 11 o'clock, 3 hours into the watch, I will ring the bell 6 times to start our ceremony. Thank you.
I call upon Mr. Michael Loftus, Head of Faculty of Engineering and Science, to commence the conferring ceremony.
Graduates of CIT, members of the governing body, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting at which awards of Cork Institute of Technology and Quality and Qualifications Ireland will be conferred on the students of this institute. Our guests on the front platform, on my immediate right, Dr. Barry O'Connor, President of CIT, on my far right, Dr. Anya Ní Registrar and Vice President for Academic Affairs, CIT. To my immediate left, Mr. Cormac Grabroers, Head of the National Maritime College of Ireland. On my mid-left, Commander Dara Kirwan, Associate Head of the National Maritime College of Ireland. And on my far left, Mr. Gerard O'Donovan, Head of Faculty of Business and Humanities in CIT. Our guests this morning, behind us and in the room, are members of the governing body and members of the academic staff of the Institute and the Defence Forces. I call upon Dr. Barry O'Connor, the President of the Institute, to confer awards on the learners presented by the Institute for that purpose.
Thank you, Michael, and you're all very welcome here this morning for this happy, relieving and celebratory occasion. So the way we run this, we do it as Gaeilge and through the Queen's English. Since it's if you go to the other universities, they do it all in Latin, so we hear nothing at all. So we do the two official languages here. So we begin with the sort of the formal padr or the prayer, as we'll call it, which kind of gets the process going. So, Harchewn Institute, agus the Harve an Udrash, a Hamlet to Rishi, the rare Art of Craigatry, the Achtung Haliachti, agus Darbu Kaliachta, Edicus agus the Loons, Tenley and Garvey, the Sedoyog, Brunham. Da wachtini alle morgen in Institute Tactation Khaidan and a kinnig gegen Todrashin of Wintermach. Agus Eram go go for na Folimorishin in Malahir, Huna Bar, a Herbert Doive, go for a mule. So, on behalf of the Institute and by virtue of the authority delegated to it under Section 53 of the Qualifications and Quality Assurance Education and Training Act of 2012, I hereby confer awards on the learners of the Institute who have achieved the standards determined by the authority for those awards, and I ask that those learners be presented to me so that I may formally present them with their parchment.
I call upon Mr. Tim Hogan, Head of School of Science and Informatics, to commence the conferring in his school.
The School of Science and Informatics consists of the Department of Biological Sciences, the Department of Computer Science, the Department of Mathematics and the Department of Physical Sciences. I call upon Dr. Brendan O'Connell, Head of the Department of Biological Sciences, to commence the conferring of the award of Doctor of Philosophy in his department.
I call upon the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Biological Sciences.
Thank you, Brendan. Now, this morning we have our Maritime College conferrings, but we begin with our PhD or doctorate graduations. Now, the doctorate is the highest qualification you can get in any third level institution, so we give them pride of place this morning. Some of them have been on the road a long time to get here, as we all were, so it's no harm to give them their 3, 4, 5 minutes in the sun. So we begin, as Brendan says, in the School of the Department of Biological Sciences, and we'll confer each candidate individually. So Harchewn Institute agus a Harve an Udrash, a Hamlet to Rishi the Alta Craigatry, Dacht Chaliachti agus Darbu Kaliachta, Edicus agus the Loons, Tenley and Garvey, the Sedoyog, Brunham on Chem, Dr. Le Fialsonucht Vincenzo Pinone, agus Marta Sanz Gaitero in absentia. So, on behalf of the Institute and by virtue of the authority delegated to it under Section 53 of the Qualifications and Quality Assurance Education and Training Act 2012, I hereby confer the degree of philosophy on Vincenzo Pinone and Marta Sanz Gaetero in absentia. Okay, so the supervisors and the candidates will now approach the podium.
I have the honour to present Vincenzo Pinone for the admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Professor Aidan Coffey, Dr. Olivia McAuliffe and Dr. Kieran Jordan had the privilege of being Vincenzo's supervisors. The title of Vincenzo's PhD thesis is The Occurrence of Listeria myosogenes in the mushroom production chain and the use of bacteriophage for its control. The project was funded by a Teagasc Welsh Fellowship in 2015 under the supervision of Professor Aidan Coffey and Dr. Olivia McAuliffe, Teagasc Moor Park. His research, the occurrence of listeria in the mushroom production chain and the use of bacteriophage technology for its control. In the project, he assessed which were the most critical areas where cross-contamination of mushrooms with listeria could occur. Hygiene practices currently in use in the mushroom production industry were assessed, and improvements aimed at the reduction of listeria were disseminated via Teagasc to the Irish mushroom sector. He presented his work at several conferences and has already published 2 chapters of his thesis, with 3 more in preparation for publication. Vincenzo now works as a full-time research officer in Teagasc. President, I request that the award of Doctor of Philosophy be made to Marta Sanz Gaetero in absentia.
This concludes this part of the meeting for the purpose of conferring the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Biological Sciences. We now proceed to the conferring of the next award. I call upon Dr. Donna O'Mahony, Head of the Department of Physical Sciences, to commence the conferring of the award of Doctor of Philosophy in his department.
Thanks, Tim.
I call on the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Physical Sciences for Brian Robert Hogan, Ben Andrew O'Shaughnessy.
So, Harcoun Institute, agus de Harve and Odaraj, a harmlik to read the real article 3, Dachtum Haliakti, agus Darvo Haliakta, Edicus Axeluant, and being Gavid Sedoyo, Brunneman Haim, Doctor, the Fjellsoonlucht, Brian Robert Hogan, agus Ben Andrew O'Shaughnessy. So, on behalf of the Institute, and by virtue of the authority delegated to it under Section 53 of the Qualifications and Quality Assurance Education and Training Act of 2012, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy on Brian Robert Hogan and Ben Andrew O'Shaughnessy.
I have the honour to present Brian Robert Hogan for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Stephen Hagerty, Dr. Liam Lewis and Dr. Mary Lehan had the privilege of being Brian's supervisors. The title of Brian's PhD thesis is Sub-Wavelength Gratings for Long Wavelength Sensing. Brian was a Risham scholar who graduated with a first-class honours from the Department of Applied Physics and Instrumentation, Physical Sciences. His project was in collaboration with the Tyndall National Institute, The title of the project of the thesis, Sub-Wavelength Gratings for Long Wavelength Sensing. The study involved work at the Tyndall Institute with advanced semiconductor fabrication techniques and also design of novel grating sensors. Brian now works with Pfizer Corporation. I have the honour to present Ben Andrew O'Shaughnessy for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Professor Guillaume Hoye, Dr. William Whelan Curtin and Dr. William Doherty had the privilege of being Ben's supervisors. The title of Ben's PhD thesis is Dynamics of Swept Source Lasers. Ben is a graduate of the Physics Department in UCC. His thesis comprised of theoretical work on the study of the dynamics of swept source lasers for applications in OCT, optical coherence topology. Ben's work was highly commended by the external examiners and has a number of exceptional publications. Congratulations, Ben.
This concludes this part of the meeting for the purpose of conferring the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Physical Sciences. We now proceed to the conferring of the next award. I have the privilege to commence the conferring in the School of Mechanical, Electrical and Process Engineering. The School of Mechanical, Electrical and Process Engineering consists of the Department of Electro-Electronic Engineering, the Department of Mechanical, Biomedical and Manufacturing Engineering, the Department of Process Energy and Transport Engineering and the Centre of Craft Studies. I call upon Dr. Joe Connell, Head of Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, to commence the conferring of the award of Doctor of Philosophy in his department.
I call upon the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering.
Thank you, Joe. So, Reish Harkown Institute, Harve and Udrash, a Hamlet to Ritty, to their Alta Quagatri, Dachtum Haliakti, Gustavo Haliakta, Idacas Salons, then the Gabi, the Sidoyo, Brunniman came, Dr. Lafayette Sonot, George Enrique Medina Victoria. So, on behalf of the Institute and by virtue of the authority dedicated to it under Section 53 of the Qualifications and Quality Assurance Education and Training Act of 2012, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy on George Enrique Medina Victoria.
I have the honour to present Jorge Enrique Medina Victoria for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Susan O'Regan, Professor Dr. Kirill Fisher and I had the privilege of being George's supervisors. Jorge's PhD thesis is entitled A Method for the Measurement of the Latency Tolerance Range of Western Musicians. Jorge is an academic working in our partner institution, the University of Applied Sciences in Darmstadt, as indeed is Professor Kirill Fisher. Jorge's work focused on latency in musical performance, which is fundamentally about the time delay involved in the playing of musical notes and the time for sound to travel. Jorge developed an experimental framework for quantifying latency values for a range of Western instruments and then went on to suggest ways in which these values could be of use. The external examiner said in his report that this PhD represents a significant body of work exploring the effect of latency on musical performance within the context of a non-collaborative, networked musical performance.
This concludes this part of the meeting. For the purpose of conferring the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, we now proceed to the conferring of the next award. I call upon Dr. Michael J. O'Mahony, Head of Department of Process, Energy and Transport Engineering, to commence the conferring of the award of Doctor of Philosophy in his department.
I call upon the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Process, Energy and Transport Engineering.
Thank you, Michael. So, our Ceann Institute, agus Harva and Woodrush, a handle to retreat the Reality Quaggy 3, Daxon Khaliach, Diego Starvo Khaliach, Edicus agus Alonston, Brian Garvey, Doyog, Bunnaman came, Dr. Olaf Adam Cornelius O'Donovan. On behalf of the Institute and by virtue of the authority delegated to it under Section 53 of the Qualifications and Quality Assurance Education and Training Act of 2012, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy on Adam Cornelius O'Donovan.
I have the honour to present Adam Cornelius O'Donovan for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Michael D. Murphy and Dr. Paul O'Sullivan had the privilege of being Adam's supervisors. The title of Adam's PhD thesis is Passive Cooling in Non-Residential Nearly Zero Energy Buildings, a Thermal Comfort Analysis based on measurement, modelling and simulation. This thesis addressed the energy and environmental challenges in our built environment, which is very topical if you were following the events of the last week and the renewed government policy in this area. He completed in collaboration with the International Energy Agency, and his work led to an update of the international standard. And his findings are published in more than 7 leading international journals and conference publications.
This concludes this part of the meeting. For the purpose of conferring the award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Process, Energy and Transport Engineering, we now proceed to the conferring of the next award. I call upon Dr. Barry O'Connor, the President of the Institute, to confer awards on behalf of Quality and Qualifications Ireland on the learners of this Institute presented by the Institute for that purpose.
For those of you who are taking precise notes, the prayer is slightly different in this case. It's a QQI award rather than a CIT award, but PhD. So, har ceann darmhú cáiliachta agus cáiliachta éireann, brunim dá bhachtaí an túdrás ármór in Institute agus éireann go gurfar na fáilimór sin im láthair chun a bar a hilberdóibh go funimiúil. So, on behalf of the Quality Qualifications Ireland, QQI in short, I hereby confer the awards of the authority on the learners of the Institute, and I ask that those learners be presented to me so that I may formally present them with their parchment.
So we'll now commence the conferring ceremony in the School of Building and Civil Engineering. The School of Building and Civil Engineering consists of the Department of Architecture, the Department of Civil, Structural and Environmental Engineering and the Department of Construction. I call upon Mr. Des Walsh, Head of Department of Civil, Structural and Environmental Engineering, to commence the conferring of the award of Doctor of Philosophy in his department.
I call upon the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the Quality and Qualifications Ireland Award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Civil, Structural and Environmental Engineering.
Thanks, Des. Harchewn darfú cáiliachta agus cáiliachtaí éireann Bunham and Came, Doctor le Fiosúnacht Daniel Goulding. On behalf of the Quality and Qualifications Ireland, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy on Daniel Goulding.
I have the honour to present Daniel Goulding for admission to the Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Niamh Power and Professor Jerry Murphy had the privilege of being Daniel's supervisor. The title of Daniel's PhD thesis is Policies Required to Encourage Biomethane as a Transport Fuel. Dr. Goulding's work has received over 37 citations and has influenced policy in Ireland. As part of the work, he developed a strategic framework and identified key policies, initiatives and infrastructure requirements to introduce biomethane to the Irish transport market. And as earlier, if you've been following the government announcements this week, you'll appreciate the significance, relevance and impact of research in this area. Daniel now adds this ultimate achievement, of course, to his significant sporting achievements.
This concludes this part of the meeting for the purpose of conferring awards in the Faculty of Engineering and Science. We now proceed to the conferring of awards in the Faculty of Business and Humanities. I call upon Mr. Gerard O'Donovan, Head of Faculty of Business and Humanities, to commence the conferring in his faculty. Gotcha.
Apologies. I have the privilege to commence the conferring ceremony in the School of Business. The School of Business consists of the Department of Accounting and Information Systems, the Department of Management and Enterprise, the Department of Marketing and International Business, and the Department of Organisation and Professional Development. I call upon Ms. Caroline O'Reilly, Head of the Department of Management and Enterprise, to present the candidate from her department. An award will be made in respect of the following programme in this department: Master of Business.
President, I present to you the following candidate who has successfully completed a research programme in the Department of Management and Enterprise and who is worthy of the Research Award of Master of Business. And I would request you to present her parchment to her. Mary Adair. And we congratulate Mary with innovation.
I have the privilege to present the candidate from the Department of Marketing and International Business. Award will be made in respect of the following programme in this department: Doctor of Philosophy. I call upon the President of the Institute, Dr. Barry O'Connor, to initiate the procedure for the Quality and Qualifications Ireland Award of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Marketing and International Business.
Thank you, Ger. So it's QQA again. So Harchewn darfú cáiliachta agus cáiliachtaí éireann Bunham and Came, Doctor le Fiosúnacht Wendy. Okay. So on behalf of the Quality and Qualifications Ireland, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy on Wendy. Okay. So. This is actually a landmark event for CIT. It's the first time we've had a PhD in the area of early childhood studies, so Wendy is a trailblazer. So well done.
I have the honour to present Wendy O'Kay for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Cian O'Neill and Dr. Judith Butler had the privilege of being Wendy's supervisors. The title of Wendy's PhD thesis is An Investigation into Practitioner and Parental Perspectives of Early Childhood Care and Education Provision in Ireland. The development of a cloud-based management tool to support quality and compliance. Wendy's thesis, as I said, investigations, components, and determine quality early childhood care and education in Ireland, was taken through the lens of both parents and practitioners working at the coalface in the sector. Without question, it was the design, creation, and validation and implementation of a pioneering and innovative cloud-based management tool called TechCloud, TK, which emerged from the initial research questions posed around quality in the sector that impressed the examiners most. TeachCloud was designed by Wendy to support structural and process quality in early years centres in Ireland and indeed all over the world, namely family, involvement, monitoring and compliance, professional development, reflective practice, and the documentation of children's learning opportunities. The examiners were not only the ones impressed with this groundbreaking tool, with Wendy recently awarded Ireland's Best Young Entrepreneur for the Cork South region, Best Pitch for the DC Ryan Academy Enterprise Ireland Ingenuity Programme, and Best Plan in the Rubicon New Frontiers Awards, and our own CIT Prize for Innovation, which kick-started this whole TK journey that emanated from our research. Away from entrepreneurship and back to academics, Wendy recently presented 2 peer-reviewed conference papers at the OMEP World Conference in Prague and in Budapest, and has published 3 peer-reviewed journals over the course of our PhD studies. So congratulations, Wendy. This concludes this part of the meeting for the purpose of conferring awards in the School of Business. We now proceed to the conferring of National Maritime College of Ireland graduates. I call upon Mr. Cormac de Boers, Head of the National Maritime College of Ireland, to commence the conferring ceremony.
It is my privilege to commence the National Maritime College of Ireland conferring ceremony. Awards will be made in respect of the following programmes: Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Engineering, Bachelor of Business in Supply Chain and Transport Management, Bachelor of Science in Nautical Science, Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Electrotechnology, Bachelor of Science Honours in Nautical Science, Certificate in Nautical Science Special Purpose Award. I call upon Captain Sinead Reen, Head of Department of Maritime Studies, to present the candidates from the NMCI.
President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a programme in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the award of Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Engineering. And I would request you to present their parchments to them. Christopher Ben Clemenson. Timothy Cronin. Shane Joseph Ginelli. Michael Adrian McClenahan. Oh, apologies. Ronan Gearan. And Michael Adrian McClenahan. William Morton. Colum Gerard O'Donovan. Owen Francis O'Malley. Ori Liam John O'Sullivan. Martin Brian Proctor. Rian Ree Trainer. Cameron Joseph Thomas Woe. Dennis Brendan Whelan Buckley. Would the graduates of the award of Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Engineering please stand to receive their ovation? President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a programme in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the award of Bachelor of Business in Supply Chain and Transport Management. And I would request you to present their parchments to them. Michael Joseph Ahern. Urko Alande in absentia. Stephen Francis Michael Burke. Edmund Clifford. Alistair Forsyth in absentia. Tom Kevin Frawley. Suzanne Freitag in absentia. Derek Ashton Green. Nathan Kerwin. Rahesh Krishnan in absentia. Karol Makarovich. Brian William McCarthy. Emer O'Brien. Shane Joseph O'Brien. John Paul Shane O'Connell. Kieran O'Connell. Christopher O'Neill in absentia. Would the graduates of the award of Bachelor of Business in Supply Chain and Transport Management please stand to receive their ovation. President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a programme in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the award of Bachelor of Science in Nautical Science, and I would request you to present their parchments to them. Dmytro Bikovsky. Robert Louis Fabi. Diarmuid James Monaghan. Stephen James Sheridan. Hugh John Charles Sweeney in absentia. Would the graduates of the award of Bachelor of Science in Nautical Science please stand to receive their ovation. President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a programme in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the award of Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Electrotechnology, and I would request that you present their parchments to them. James Cashman. Jack William Doherty. Rena Orla Griffin. Robert Mitchell. Dillon Michael O'Shea. Shane Thomas Ryan. Would the graduates of the award of Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Electrotechnology please stand to receive their ovation. President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a programme in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the award of Bachelor of Science Honours in Nautical Science, and I would request you to present their parchments to them. Leanne Elizabeth Bachelor. Craig Dennis Condon in absentia. Darrell John Griffin. Danielle Margaret Hayes. Joseph Patrick Kelly, in absentia. Gavin Craig Kerr, in absentia. Gavin Joseph McAdams, in absentia. Emmett Oliver Bartholomew Moran. Timothy Connor Moynihan. John Tyndall, in absentia. Would the graduates of the award of Bachelor of Science Honours in Nautical Science please stand to receive their ovation. President, I present to you the following candidates who have successfully completed a Special Purpose Award in the National Maritime College of Ireland and who are worthy of the Special Purpose Award of Certificate in Nautical Science, and I would request that you present their parchments to them. Anna Louise Barron, in absentia. Stephen McDermott, in absentia. This concludes this part of the meeting for the purpose of conferring awards on the students of the National Maritime College of Ireland.
Thanks, Sinead. I now call on Dr. Barry O'Connor, President of CIT, to address you.
Thank you, Cormac. When you were there, Whelan Christopher, or Institute of Technology to Turkey, Canada on NMCI, Cormac Rose, agus Canada on Skull Colig, Lieutenant Commander Dara Kirwan, agus Chard Galer, Tá Mariam Tá Fad Mór Oiv Fad, and so Madden, no better turn on in this. For us, this is a great day of celebration, and I can guarantee I won't be keeping you between the event and the celebrations. I won't go on for too long, even though, as I always say, I've been lecturer for 25 years. You normally speak for an hour, and then there's a quiz at the end of it. But it won't be an hour today, and it won't be a quiz. Maybe just to identify a few salient features about what we do in CIT. The gang in front here know all about what we do. They've been here for long enough. But in terms of what we aim to provide in CIT is a unique experience for each student that comes into CIT. And over the last 3 days above in the main campus, with colleagues as well here from Maritime College, we held for the first time in Ireland the European First Year Experience Conference. And we had over 400 delegates from 31 countries representing 100 institutions trying to work out what is the best way of giving students the best start they have in their third level education, taking into account all kinds of pressures. And the delegates who came from the States, from Korea, from Scandinavia, right across the world, they said it was the best conference they ever had. Why? Because it goes down to the fact that our staff, our lecturing staff, our professional support staff, take care of our students from the off. And I suppose we have a fairly smart way of doing it, in that we turn the responsibility over to the students themselves. But we also give them the tools on how to do that. So they take responsibility for their social life, for their academic life, for their sporting life, which turned out well for Cork in terms of Dr. Daniel Goulding, thanks be to God. We can maybe do with him over the weekend. Now that he has the PhD finished, he might come back in. But so it's a partnership exercise with our students, and that travels on then in terms of partnership as well. And over here on our left, we have the people who are going to be giving prizes to our students here later on this morning. So we have a partnership right along the way, from course design. If there's a new programme And we design it, maybe every year we'd have maybe 4 or 5 new programs coming on stream. And they're always designed with the needs of industry or the community in mind. So if it's not relevant to industry or the community, then the course doesn't actually start. And right the way through, as they say, we then have what we call external examiners, and the normal procedure would be an external examiner would be an academic, so that we have a civil engineering degree, we'd have a lecturer, professor from University of Limerick, or Trinity, or DIT, to say, well, the standard, the academic standard in CIT is the same, the standard we have in Trinity or Dublin or wherever else. That's fine, that's the normal procedure, we have that. But on every programme we also have a professional external. So if it is an engineering programme, we'll have an academic engineer, but we'll also have a practicing engineer to make sure that whatever we're teaching the students, or whatever the students are learning, more to the point, is actually relevant to the industry or the profession they're going into. And at last count, we have well over 40 bodies accrediting our degrees in CIT. Now that is extremely serious down here in terms of our colleagues from the Maritime College, who have to follow international conventions. And again, thanks be to God for those of us who go to France every now and again on the ferry, that our deck officers or engineers are all trained to the highest international standards. Well, that comes at a price. It's a tough job to be balancing the academic side and professional relevance. But we do it because that's what our students need, that's what the country needs. And in terms of what we're doing here in the Maritime College, in the main campus, and we saw the PhDs here this morning, right across the board, there are a couple of things come to mind. That we are producing graduates, whether it's in logistics, or engineering, or science, or tourism hospitality, or the creative and performing arts, which go to the heart of Irish culture and Irish industry. Right here in Cork Harbour, we have a lot of pharmaceutical companies, as you know, and we train graduates for those companies. Even Vincenzo this morning is not working, or Jorge is working in one of the pharmaceutical companies. That costs money, and it costs a lot more money than is being allowed for, we say, under government financing at the moment. Now, we've been preaching about this for a while, and last year, finally, the government decided, yeah, we will put extra money into training engineers, training computer scientists, training people for the tourism hospitality industry, because it's expensive. But at least the tide is turning in that from that point of view. In terms of, so we mentioned our partnership with our students, our partnership with the stakeholders. Here in the Maritime College, we have another example, probably the first example in the state, along with our School of Music, of a private-public partnership. But here, particularly in the Maritime this morning, the building we're in is a partnership between ourselves in CIT, the Irish Naval Service, the Department of Education, the Department of Defence, and the private operator, the private partner here, and indeed the facilities manager. So it's all about partnership, and it's all about partnership trying to deliver the best result for our students. And you know, if you look here at our fantastic group of graduates here in front of us, there are very few programs in the country, very few schools in the country where people can say, yeah, there's 100% employment from the graduating classes. And that's what we have here in the Maritime College. And we have it again in terms of, because our programs are relevant, but we have a backup as well in terms of the research. Because if we're training our students or educating the students, whether it's in marine engineering, or electrotech, or nautical science, or supply chain, then we need to be ahead of the posse as well. People talk a lot about the fact that third level institutions should respond to the needs of industry, the needs of society. Well, if you're responding, and you're trying to develop a new course, it'll be 4 or 5 years before you get graduates out onto the pitch in terms of responding to the needs of industry. So by being involved in research, as we are here in the Halpin Centre, we're seeing ahead of time what the trends are, what the needs of industry are going to be, and therefore what the needs of our graduates are going to be when they actually graduate, which again kicks into the whole notion of employability. HEA again, who will be the National Authority for the Higher Education Authority, are now insisting on employability statements in every programme in the country. Again, at CIT, we've been way ahead of the posse on that. Our music graduates perform and compose and create music. Our graduates in the Crawford College of Art and Design are artists. They develop and create art. You know, it's not just about the theory, we're strong on the theory as well. And our engineers, our computer scientists, they're trained as professionals, and not just as worker bees for industry, but as leaders for when they go into the industry. as we can see here with the fine cohort of graduates here from the Maritime College this morning. So we are responsive, we're ahead of the posse in terms of developing programs, conducting research on the needs of industry. And it's the needs of industry, as industry will tell us and as we predict from our global reach. Here within the Maritime College, we have the commercial wing, the NMCI service center headed by Jim O'Byrne over here on my left, and we're selling and consulting to ports and to naval colleges right across the world. So we know what's happening on a worldwide basis, which obviously is a fine thing in terms of the global reach of the shipping industry, whether it's the merchant marine or the Navy. And speaking of the Navy again, uniqueness here within the Maritime College, where we have the merchant marine and the Irish Naval Service training and being educated under the one roof. And it doesn't stop here, as our graduates here, but it doesn't stop when you get the piece of parchment here this morning. Again, we have all these these professional courses as you graduate up through the ranks to get your various tickets, your engineer's tickets, your officer's tickets, right up to captain and chief engineer. So, you will be coming back here to CIT, to NMCI over the years. So I guess just as you are graduating, and I know most of you have been at sea already, you wouldn't be graduating otherwise, but a little bit of advice I suppose that we picked up along the way was, when you're starting out in your career, a bit late for some of us now, when you're starting out in your career, you should identify a mentor. Somebody that has earned a bit of respect, somebody with a bit of experience in the game, and it needn't necessarily be 20 years ahead of you, be 2 or 3 years ahead of you, in terms of identifying, what path to cut out for yourself, what courses to take, what companies to work for, what you should be doing in terms of developing your career. And besides trying to invent the wheelbarrow again for yourself, identify people who will actually advise you as you're going along. And I know we have LinkedIn, and we have a faculty LinkedIn in engineering and science, and you're all members of the engineering faculty, engineering and science faculty. We have all these online systems now for keeping in touch. But for me, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but keeping in touch with your colleagues that you're graduating with here this morning, keep in touch with our colleagues in the faculty here over the years, because again, I go back to this the whole time, you're very proud of your achievements, and your families and supporters at the back of the hall are more than proud of you, and they say probably very relieved as well that the checkbook can go back into the pocket, you can mind your own Visa card from now on. But the proudest people here this morning, I can guarantee you, are our colleagues here and the staff, myself included, that we know that we're sending out a great bunch of graduates out into the industry. And was it one morning early last week there, I was listening to the report from Greencastle on the war breaking out between ourselves in Scotland, and I heard Michael Allen here. Michael was on Morning Ireland, a graduate of marine engineering from CIT, National Maritime College of Ireland, and the guy, he spoke like a total professional. I'm sure he's been at sea for a long time, but it was great to hear him, and his dad as well. But to hear that Maritime College gets a mention nationally when the Navy will be heading up there protecting the fishermen in a few months' time. It all started with Michael McCrellan. He's over there. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. I was looking towards Rockall. You see, that's my problem. see it coming. But it's great to hear young professionals like that, because you are professionals now, and you've always been treated professionally here within the Maritime College. And so we look forward to working with you over the next coming 20 years. And as I say, when you make your first million, we'll put a plaque up on the wall there to those who want to make donations. And finally, just to finish up, I would again like to draw attention to our colleagues over here on the left, colleagues from industry, who are all represented here this morning. And in particular, I'd like to compliment the Betelgeuse Commemoration Committee, represented this morning by Michael Kingston, 40th anniversary of that terrible tragedy below in Bantry, way back when. And every year they will present a prize in terms of the best safety project in second year, and we'll have that prize ceremony later on. And as a mark of respect, a mark of commemoration for the Betelgeuse tragedy, Michael will be joining us in the procession. But this is a great celebration this morning. You should be really proud. We are proud. And I have to say as well, our PhD graduates here, I can't remember as many PhD graduates coming out of CIT before. So it shows where we're going. And where we are going, just to finish up, just a few short weeks ago we had an evaluation panel in looking at this, our application to become a technological university, jointly with our colleagues below in IT Tralee. And again, this designation is the word there, because as you can see here, we are operating at the highest level of relevance, of academic standards. We've been operating at university level for a long time. So again, watch the papers in terms of how that name change will happen. And it's not just a name change, we're doing this to get proper resources for our students and for our staff. So fog me mar sin tres liam le gachéine tá goil pár facta ar maidin ach go háire ar card goil doctor facta co agus tá tascum go me sin mar ambassadori úntacha don chláiste de Clás Náisiúnta mar an héan agus déan tre chéile. So well done to everybody, and enjoy the celebrations later on. Hopefully the summer will stay out and we'll get some good photographs, I say. So good meal Mahagav and best of luck.
Thank you, Barry. I now call on Lieutenant Commander Derek Irwin, Associate Head of NMCI, to address you.
President of CIT, Dr. Barry O'Connor, distinguished guests, our graduates, their families and friends. On behalf of the National Maritime College of Ireland, I wish to congratulate all our graduates here today, those that have successfully navigated the various elements of the Department of Maritime Studies, as well as those that have been conferred with their doctorate in philosophy and masters due to their research across the various departments in the main campus in Bishopstown. I'm fully aware of the work, the effort and the sacrifices that you and your families have made, and your achievements are worth celebrating here today. The diverse mix of the graduates is indicative of the unique partnership and the progressive approach underpinning the National Maritime College. 15 years ago, when this college was established, it was innovation, vision and a willingness to share that made it a reality. Since then, our progress has depended on trust, honest endeavour and the relationship between students and staff. I would like to thank the Head of College, Cormac O'Brien, Mr Martin O'Connor from ONG with his facilities management team, the Cork Institute of Technology and Naval Service staff who make this unique partnership work. So we in Ireland are an island nation and we're located on the periphery of Europe in the Northeast Atlantic. The importance of the sea to our island cannot be overestimated. Today, almost every facet of our national life depends on our connections to the wider world, connections which are provided by the sea. Our open economy is heavily dependent on the sea. Locally here in Cork Harbour, we have 8 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world where they export from. Likewise, 17 of the top 25 medical device companies in the world are located here in Ireland, all exporting by sea. Almost 85% of our agricultural produce is exported by sea, and more than 90% of all our trade travels into our ports by sea. And 85% of our current energy needs, whatever it will look like in the future, but the current needs are all delivered in by sea. As islanders, shipping, logistics and research form an essential part of our relationship with the sea, and this is what we deliver here in the National Maritime College. We do this through constantly advancing our maritime training and education, and for that I'd like to thank the President of the CIT and the Flag Officer Commanding the Naval Service, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, for their key support in this regard. While not traditionally a seafaring nation, we have nonetheless contributed hugely to the global maritime world. Seafarers, explorers and visionaries at the forefront of advancements throughout history. In the lifespan of this college, we have seen people who were learners in the building only a few short years ago and are now leaders of industry around the world. For this is what we do here. Today we train the leaders of tomorrow. We deliver key expertise to the maritime world. The expert crews who man the ships crossing the oceans to meet global trade demands, the naval crews securing and protecting the maritime domain, the supply chain and logistics experts who manage the complex logistics of transoceanic and transnational transportation, and the researchers who shape our future. This expertise is amongst us here today with our graduates. So to you, our graduates, your award marks a return on your talent. It's a recognition of your hard work and commitment over a long period of time. Your graduation is a passport that you can use from here on in life. It marks a great occasion for you and also for your family and friends, and a significant milestone in your life. In wishing you all the very best for the future, I end with a mariner's blessing of fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara. We're getting there. It gives me great pleasure to now commence the NMCI prize-giving ceremony. If I could call on Captain Bill Kavanagh to present the Asgard Award for the Best Dissertation, BSc Honours Nautical Science, on behalf of Nautical Institute, Ireland. The prize is awarded to Leanne Bachelor. Well done, Leanne. Mr. Ray Cowley, Chairman Southern Branch, and Mr. Michael Fitzgerald, National Management Team, will present the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Award to the Best Overall Student of the Year in the Bachelor of Business and Supply Chain and Transport Management. The prize is awarded to Emer O'Brien. Well done, Emer. Mr. Peter O'Shaughnessy, Head of HR in the Port of Cork, will present the Port of Cork Supply Chain Industry Award. This prize is awarded for exceptional team performance. The prize this year goes to Nathan Kerwin, Susanna Freetig and Shane O'Connell. Congratulations, guys. Well done. Ms. Michelle Delaney, GPS Ireland, will present the GPS Ireland Award to the student who achieved the highest mark in the NAEST O Navigation Aids and Equipment Simulator Training Operational Level course during their third year of studies. The prize is awarded to Peter Kelly. Congratulations, Peter. Mrs. Phil Curtis and Captain Damien O'Sullivan will present the Don Curtis Memorial Award to the Cadet of Year 1 Nautical Science on behalf of the Irish Institute of Master Mariners. This prize is awarded to Robert McInerney. Congratulations, Robert. Mr. Michael Kingston will present the Betelgeuse Award on behalf of the Betelgeuse Memorial Committee to the best safety-related project by a second-year nautical science student. This prize is awarded to Amy Keating. Congratulations, Amy. Mr. Liam Doyle, Fellow and Chair of the Cork Branch of the Institute of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology, IMAREST, will present the Best Marine Engineering Graduate Award. This prize is awarded to Cameron Wall. Congratulations, Cameron. My colleague Jim O'Byrne, Head of NMCI Services, will present Cadet of the Year, Bachelor of Engineering in Marine Electrotechnology Award to Dillon O'Shea. Congratulations, Dillon. Our final award for this year's prize giving will be presented by Lieutenant Commander Alan O'Regan, and this is the NAVCOM sponsored award for the Naval Service Cadet of the Year, Nautical Science. The prize this year is awarded to Patrick Kearns. Congratulations, Patrick. So I am all that stands between you and a well-earned cup of tea. 11 minutes, I promise. President, CIT governing body members, representative for the flag officer commanding the naval service, shipping company representatives, colleagues, those who have sponsored our prize giving today, and you, our new graduates, and all our guests here this afternoon. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to NMCI. Humankind is challenged as it has never been challenged before, to prove its maturity and its mastery, not of nature, but of itself. Given the increasingly widespread concern engulfing us about climate change, and most recently now, the threat of biodiversity collapse, you might think those words were spoken recently. In fact, that quote is 64 years old, made in 1955 by a marine scientist, Rachel Carson. Carson is remembered today as much for being the first person who challenged the notion that humans could obtain mastery over nature using chemicals, as much for her contributions to ocean science. Carson warned in her book, Silent Spring, written in 1962, of the dangers of all natural systems, or to all natural systems, from the misuse of chemical pesticides, such as DDT. Carson truly was an expert in her field, and something of a prophet as well, as it's turned out. When I read her words a few weeks ago, I couldn't help but wonder how different our world would be today if people had paid attention back then to Rachel Carson. It's reasonable to suggest we'd be in a very different and a much better place than where we instead find ourselves today. Too many of us not listening to experts or not acting on their advice is not a new phenomenon. It's been a problem for a long time now, at least as far back as Rachel Carson's time. Probably a lot longer than that. The thing is, today, ignoring real experts has consequences that are more serious for us than ever before. We have a very confusing relationship with experts and expertise. On the one hand, there's ample evidence that we don't listen to experts anything like enough or act on their advice early enough. There's seemingly contradictory evidence these days, however, that we're listening to experts more than ever before. And indeed, there's more of them than ever before. They're everywhere, 24/7, across all platforms. And yet, despite all this supposed expertise that's out there today, we're not making better decisions, nor are we solving long-standing problems. Our situation isn't improving. One might even suggest we're going backwards. It's important we understand what's going on here, a messy tangle of 4 threads. The first is human nature. We just don't like people telling us we're not doing stuff right. Unfortunately for experts, that is often their lot, to have to tell us that we need to change our behaviour. It is particularly the case today for scientists whose careful research can but point out the terrible folly of our behaviour as a species over the last 260 years or so, since the time of the Industrial Revolution. We don't like what experts tell us, so we just ignore them. The second thread of the tangled expertise web is called anti-intellectualism. I couldn't sum it up better than to quote my favourite author, Isaac Asimov. Anti-intellectualism has been a constant thread winding its way through our political and cultural life, nurtured by the false notion that democracy means that my ignorance is as good as your knowledge. Some people like to take others down a peg or two just to keep them in place. That becomes a spectacular own goal, however, when the person who I set out to cut down to size and whose only offence is that they just happen to be brighter than me is trying to tell me because they care about me, something that's very important to my own future survival. The third thread is often not immediately visible and is those individuals and groups with, quite frankly, dangerous agendas that seek to exploit our natural aversion to being told off and our cultural tendency to anti-intellectualism to achieve their own selfish ends. They deceive us by showing us supposedly an easier way. Ignore the experts and everything will be fine, they say. Or even more insidiously, ignore those experts and listen to me or to my experts instead. They are lying to us for our own ends, plain and simple. They do not have our interests nor those of wider society at heart. The last thread of this expertise conundrum is to do with the business of modern media. It's said that a newspaper never wanted for ink. Column inches and broadcast seconds have to be filled with something. With the proliferation of radio, television, and now online and 24-hour news cycle media, there's more space and time to be filled than ever before. Today, much of that space and time is filled with pseudo-information that's being sold to us as expertise, but it's not. It's pseudo-expertise delivered by pseudo-experts. It's nothing more than opinion, all too often dangerously uninformed opinion, dressed up as facts. The thing is, actual expertise is uncommon. A genuine, credible expert is someone who truly appreciates the complexity of the world, who can navigate and communicate that complexity, and fully realizes that there is always doubt, because not all is known or can be known. It's why a genuine expert will rarely, if ever, give a simple yes or no answer, much to the frustration of news and current affairs anchors. Those who are truly experts are special people who commit their lives to a deep understanding of their discipline. They are on a journey of lifelong learning and understanding in their field of study and experience. They are uncommon because of the commitment required to become a true expert. It's not a calling for most of us. The inevitably complex narratives that real experts are required to provide to ensure accuracy, they don't fit comfortably in today's fast-moving, soundbite-driven media. And so, the voices of real experts are being heard less and less these days in favour of the pseudo-experts who are very media savvy, but dangerously short on facts and knowledge. So what to do? Is there no hope? Of course there's hope. There is in fact great hope, and that hope is sitting here in this hall right now. The hope and the way forward is education and educated people that now includes you, our latest graduates. Education, the education that you've received and worked hard for, that your loved ones have made sacrifices, often great sacrifices, to give you, enables you to tackle all the challenges I've talked about and empowers you and all of us together to overcome them. Among our graduates today are a small number who have demonstrated through sustained hard work over a long period that they are worthy of the award of academia's highest accolade, that of a PhD. There are also others here who, as a result of many years of sustained learning, continuous professional development, and huge experience gained in the workplace, have achieved the pinnacles of professional learning and development. For those of us who have chosen the sea for our careers, for example, these people are our chief engineers and master mariners. These folks, holders of PhDs and of the highest professional experience-based qualifications, are the feedstock for true experts. For our other graduates today, you were all at various stages of academic and professional development. That may ultimately bring some of you to a place where you'll also become a real expert. For those of you who hear that calling, keep going. The world needs real experts like never before. Although challenging to achieve, it is the most honourable of professions. Not all of us are destined to become experts. For those of you who follow other paths, what should you do where expertise is concerned? Your education from a third-level institution of higher learning has given you the tools to distinguish fact from fiction, even when it is cleverly disguised. Analyse and critique carefully. Don't be drawn in by false argument. Armed with your high-quality education from NMCI and CIT, you are now an important part of society's protections against those who would seek to undermine truth for their own selfish gains. Speak up. Be brave. Stand for truth even when it is hard and it means difficult change. To all of you as you go back out into the world today, remember that real expertise is uncommon and that you must ever be on your guard against untruth. Remember also that CIT and NMCI will continue to be here for you and with you throughout your lifelong journey of continuous learning. Congratulations to every one of you on your graduation today. Don't forget to thank all those people who helped you to get here. Every successful graduate is the result of a team effort involving family, friends, classmates, and those who educated you. Thank them. They deserve your thanks. For my part, as head of college, I want to thank our teaching and learning, training and support staff, and our shipping company partners across the world who work so closely with us to successfully educate and train the next generation of maritime industry professionals, experts, and indeed leaders. That we get to do this important work together is a privilege none of us take for granted. On a personal note, as my first year as head of college draws to a close, I also want to say thank you to all my colleagues for your patience, forbearance, and indeed goodwill as I found my sea legs, so to speak. Lastly, but by no means least, thanks to everyone here and in CIT who helped make today's conferring ceremony a success. Thank you everyone for your efforts. Please everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. And with that, I would like to bring today's proceedings to a close. On behalf of the President, I would like to invite our newly conferred PhD graduates and their supervisors to join him in leading the academic procession. To mark the 40th anniversary of the Betelgeuse disaster, I also ask Mr. Michael Kingston, representing the families of those lost, and this year's Betelgeuse Award recipient, Amy Keating, to also join the academic procession behind the PhD graduates. Thank you, folks, and have a great day.
Please be seated, thank you. I promise you 2 more minutes. Just while the academic procession is moving back to the foyer, I'm just going to keep you here for, as I say, less than 2 minutes. I do have just received a message this morning for our graduates from the Department of Transport. It's a new M notice that's been published this morning. I think you probably should be aware of it. It's M notice 2019/6, a warning to all vessels trading coastal and worldwide. A class of new qualified officers have been released from NMCI. Please navigate all sea areas with extreme caution. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to show a bit of appreciation for the music today. Dave O'Keefe, if you could maybe. Also, very quickly, like to thank the conferring committee, staff, various CIT and NMCI, who, through all their hard work, this day has worked out so far. A lot of weeks go into the preparation for this day, and I'm sure you can appreciate that. This is a very special day for graduates. However, what I would like to say, and I think just to concur with what was said previously, your parents, partners, and other family members have been with you for this voyage and journey that you've just been through. And perhaps you could stand and show appreciation to your family members. Graduates, if you could maybe just stand up and just show appreciation to your family and girlfriends and so on, boyfriends. Thank you. Now, what I'd like to do is, if the graduates would remain standing for a few more moments, while we would like to see our graduates leave the auditorium in a group, the groups you came in for photographs in the main foyer, and for the rest of you, just remain for another 1 minute, and then you can join your graduates in the foyer for photographs, and also just to invite you all for tea and coffee, and probably a drop of whiskey after that. And I think you've all earned it. Thanks again. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations on all your graduates today, and please enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and have a lovely weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.